Hello there, and welcome to the Sleepy Nature channel. Tonight, you don't need to fix anything, understand anything, or reach any conclusion. This is simply a quiet moment for you to rest. Let your breathing slow, not on purpose, but naturally, as it always does when nothing is required of you. Tonight's journey is about something your body already knows: how nature gently helps the human body rest. You may notice that just thinking about nature already softens something inside you. That is not imagination, it is memory. Long before words, long before clocks, long before bright rooms and constant signals, your body learned how to rest by watching the world around it. The rise and fall of light, the cooling of air, the steady return of night. These rhythms shaped the human nervous system slowly, patiently, over thousands of years. Your body was not designed for urgency. It was designed for cycles. When the sun lowered, activity faded. When darkness arrived, muscles loosened. When the world grew quiet, the body followed. Rest was not something to earn. It was simply what happened next. Even now, your body still listens for these signals. As evening approaches, light becomes softer, warmer, less demanding. This change alone tells your brain that it is safe to slow down. Thoughts begin to stretch. Breathing deepens without instruction. The heartbeat eases, as if remembering an old, trusted path. Nature never rushes this process. It never interrupts itself. It moves gradually, giving your body time to follow. You may notice how different this feels compared to artificial light or sudden noise. Nature does not pull your attention. It invites it, gently, quietly, and then lets it drift. The human body responds to this kindness immediately. In natural environments, the nervous system begins to shift out of alert mode. The shoulders soften, the jaw releases. Even the tiny muscles around the eyes relax, allowing vision to blur slightly, just enough to stop searching. This is not because you are tired. It is because your body recognizes safety. Nature does not ask questions. It does not demand decisions. It offers no deadlines, no alerts, no sharp edges for the mind to catch on. Instead, it provides predictability. Waves return again and again. Wind moves leaves in familiar patterns. Crickets repeat their gentle rhythms without variation or surprise. These steady sounds tell the brain there is nothing new to defend against. And so, the body begins to rest. Breathing slows first, then the heart follows. Then thoughts lose their urgency and begin to drift like clouds that no longer need direction. You don't have to tell yourself to relax. Nature already did. Even the ground plays a role. When you lie down, your body senses support beneath you, gravity holding you gently in place. This feeling of being held is ancient. It reassures muscles that they can let go. In nature, there is always something underneath you: earth, sand, grass, stone warmed by the day and cooling slowly into night. Your body trusts this. As darkness deepens, the world becomes less detailed. Shapes soften, edges blur. The brain no longer needs to track every movement, every change. Attention turns inward, not as effort, but as ease. This is the beginning of rest. Not sleep yet, just the gentle transition into stillness. Nature never pushes you into sleep. It simply removes the reasons to stay awake. And as you rest here, listening quietly, your body is already responding, not because you told it to, but because it remembers how. In the next moments, we'll drift deeper into these natural signals. The sounds, the air, the rhythm that has always guided human rest. For now, simply stay here. Let the night continue its work. As the night continues, something subtle begins to change inside you. Not suddenly, not dramatically, just a quiet shift, like a tide turning far from shore. Your body is paying attention to darkness. Darkness is not emptiness. It is information. When light fades, your eyes send fewer signals outward. The brain no longer needs to measure distance, color, movement. It releases that effort, little by little, and redirects energy inward. This is why night has always been associated with rest. In nature, darkness means fewer demands. Predators settle, birds grow still, flowers close their petals as if folding themselves away for safekeeping. The world itself begins to conserve energy, and your body follows. Without bright light pressing against your senses, your thoughts begin to soften. They stretch. They lose their sharp edges. Ideas no longer rush to be finished. Darkness gives the mind permission to stop performing. You may notice that sounds feel different now. Not louder, not quieter, just closer. A distant insect call, the hush of air moving through space. A soft, repeating rhythm that doesn't ask you to interpret it. Natural sounds rarely demand attention. They repeat without urgency. They arrive and leave without consequence. This predictability is deeply calming to the nervous system. Your brain is constantly scanning for danger, even when you're not aware of it. Sudden changes in sound or light can keep it alert, but nature moves in gradients, not interruptions. Wind builds slowly. Rain begins as a whisper. Night arrives in stages. Because nothing happens all at once, your body never feels startled. Instead, it settles. Breathing adjusts next. Not because you control it, but because the environment signals that there is time. Time to inhale fully. Time to let the exhale linger just a moment longer. Each breath becomes a little heavier, a little slower, a little more complete. In nature, there is no reason to hold the breath. Your muscles notice this first. The neck releases its quiet tension. The shoulders sink downward, no longer holding themselves up. The hands relax, fingers uncurling without instruction. These changes are small, but they ripple outward. The heart responds by easing its pace. Not dramatically, just enough to feel less urgent, less insistent. The body understands this pattern. It has followed it before, many times, even if modern life sometimes interrupts it. Night is a signal that nothing more is required. In the natural world, night does not mean productivity. It means restoration. Animals do not worry about tomorrow when darkness falls. They listen, they rest, they conserve. Your body still remembers how to do this. You might notice that your thoughts begin to wander more freely now. They don't need to solve anything. They drift, connect loosely, then float away. This is a sign that the brain is moving away from problem-solving mode, away from planning, toward rest. Nature encourages this by offering fewer details to process. The colors of night are simple, deep blues, soft shadows, muted tones that don't compete for attention. Without stimulation, the mind stops chasing. And in this quiet, something gentle happens. The body begins to trust the moment. Trust that nothing is missing. Trust that nothing is coming. Trust that it can stay exactly where it is. This trust is the foundation of rest. You don't need to think about it. You don't need to encourage it. Just notice how stillness feels when it arrives on its own. Even now, as you listen, nature is continuing its slow work. Darkness deepens. Sounds space themselves farther apart. Air cools almost imperceptibly. Your body senses all of this without effort. And with each passing moment, it becomes easier to let go. In the next part, will drift into the quiet language of natural sounds, and how repetition, rhythm, and softness guide the body even deeper into rest. For now, remain here. There is nowhere else to be. As the night grows steadier, sound becomes the main companion around you. Not loud sound, not busy sound, just the gentle presence of it. In nature, sound rarely demands attention. It doesn't interrupt. It doesn't rush. It simply exists, flowing in and out like breath. This is important because your nervous system listens constantly. Even when you're not aware of it, your brain is sorting sounds into quiet categories: safe or unsafe, predictable or sudden, worth reacting to, or safe to ignore. Natural sounds almost always fall into the safest category. Think of wind moving through leaves. It never repeats in exactly the same way, yet it is always familiar. There are no sharp edges to it, no sudden changes that require response. Rain behaves the same way, drop after drop, forming a steady pattern that the brain quickly understands. Once understood, it no longer needs attention. This is when rest begins to deepen. Repetitive, gentle sounds tell the body something very specific. Nothing is approaching. Nothing is chasing. Nothing is expected of you. Crickets, for example, have been part of human nights for as long as humans have existed. Their rhythm is slow, consistent, and continuous. It does not signal danger. It signals normalcy. The brain relaxes when it hears this. In nature, silence is never complete. There is always a soft layer of sound underneath everything else, a background presence that keeps the mind from searching too hard. Total silence can feel unsettling, but natural quiet feels alive, supportive, complete. Your body understands this difference instinctively. As sound becomes softer and more distant, your attention follows it inward. The outer world fades slightly. Inner sensations become easier to notice. You might become aware of the weight of your body where it rests, the slow rise and fall of your chest, the gentle warmth spreading through your limbs. These sensations don't need labels. They don't need interpretation. They are simply there. Natural sound gives your mind permission to stop monitoring. In modern life, sudden noises often mean alarms, messages, demands. But nature never uses sound that way. A bird call does not require action. A breeze does not require a reply. Water flowing does not need to be answered. So the mind lets go. With fewer signals to process, your thoughts begin to lose their structure. They no longer line up in sentences. They soften into impressions, images, fragments. This is a natural transition. The brain is shifting away from language and logic and toward feeling and sensation. This is where rest becomes deeper than simple relaxation. Breathing adjusts again. The exhale grows slightly longer than the inhale. This tells the nervous system it is safe to release stored tension. Muscles respond one by one. The face smooths. The tongue rests in the mouth. The space between the eyebrows loosens. You are not doing this. Your body is. Nature provides the conditions. Your body completes the process. Even the rhythm of night contributes. Sounds arrive, pause, then return. Nothing stays constant. Nothing disappears completely. This gentle variation keeps the brain engaged just enough to prevent restlessness, but not enough to cause alertness. It is the perfect balance. In this space, time begins to feel different. Moments stretch. There is no pressure to move forward. The body no longer tracks seconds or minutes. It simply exists within the flow. This is why people often sleep better near nature. Not because they try harder, but because the environment does the work for them. As you remain here, listening quietly, allow the sounds around you, real or imagined, to continue their slow pattern. There is nothing to follow, nothing to focus on, just gentle presence. In the next part, we'll drift into the role of air and breath, and how the natural world teaches the body to breathe itself into rest. For now, stay exactly where you are. The night is steady, and so are you. As the night settles even more deeply, attention drifts towards something you rarely need to think about: the air around you, and the breath moving quietly through your body. In nature, air is never still. It moves slowly, almost politely, as if careful not to disturb anything resting within it. A soft current brushing past leaves, a gentle coolness settling near the ground, a quiet exchange that never demands notice. Your body responds to this without instruction. Breathing is one of the first systems to return to its natural rhythm when the environment feels safe. There is no need to hold the breath, no need to shorten it, no reason to prepare. In natural settings, breathing becomes round and unforced. The inhale arrives easily, the exhale leaves without resistance. Nothing is pushed, nothing is delayed. This is how the body prefers to breathe. Cooler evening air plays an important role here. As temperatures drop, even slightly, the skin senses the change. This gentle cooling sends a message inward, a message of night, of slowing, of rest. The body answers by easing its internal pace. Heart rate softens, muscle tone loosens. Energy that was once directed outward turns inward. Air at night feels different because it carries fewer disturbances, no rising heat, no sharp movement, just a steady presence surrounding you evenly. This uniformity calms the nervous system. Your lungs, sensitive to rhythm, adjust immediately. Breaths become deeper, not because you choose them, but because the body has space for them now. You may notice how the chest expands more fully, how the belly rises gently, how the exhale feels like a quiet release rather than a task. In nature, nothing rushes the breath. Wind never hurries. Air never pushes. It moves at the pace that allows everything else to stay calm. Your body mirrors this instinctively. Each breath becomes a small signal of safety. Each exhale tells the muscles that they can let go just a little more. This gradual release spreads downward. The spine settles. The hips grow heavier. The legs feel supported, anchored, content to remain still. Even the smallest muscles, those you rarely notice, begin to rest. The muscles around the eyes, the tiny stabilizers in the neck, the constant quiet workers finally allowed to pause. Nature creates this permission through consistency. The air does not change suddenly. It cools slowly. It moves gently. It stays reliable. Reliability is deeply calming to the human body. When the environment behaves predictably, the brain stops scanning ahead. It stops preparing. It stops bracing. This is when rest becomes effortless. You may feel as though you are breathing with the night itself, as if the air around you and the air inside you are part of the same slow movement. This feeling is ancient. For most of human history, rest happened outdoors or near open air, under trees, beside water, under wide skies where air moved freely and gently. Your body still remembers this relationship. Breathing near nature often feels fuller, cleaner, more satisfying, not because of effort, but because nothing interferes. No tight spaces, no sharp smells, no artificial urgency, just air doing what it has always done. As your breath settles into this rhythm, thoughts grow quieter, on their own. They lose their grip. They drift past without attachment. You don't need to follow them. They dissolve naturally, like mist thinning as night deepens. In the next part, we'll explore how wide spaces and open horizons help the mind release its need to focus, and how nature teaches the brain that it doesn't need to watch everything. For now, stay with the breath as it is, unmanaged, unforced, perfectly sufficient. The night continues, and your body continues to rest. As your breathing settles into its quiet rhythm, the mind begins to notice something else that nature offers so generously: space. In the natural world, space is open and unconfined. Horizons stretch without edges. Skies widen without boundaries. Even forests, dense and sheltering, hold a sense of depth rather than pressure. Your brain responds to this openness immediately. Wide spaces tell the mind that there is nothing closing in, nothing to monitor closely, nothing demanding constant focus. This is why looking at the sky feels calming, even without thought. In nature, your vision is not trapped. It can soften, it can wander, it can rest without needing to lock onto a single point. This kind of vision relaxes the brain. When you look at distant shapes, hills, water, clouds, treetops, the muscles around the eyes ease. The brain shifts out of detail mode. It stops trying to interpret every line and surface. Focus becomes gentle instead of sharp. This shift has a powerful effect on rest. In tight, busy environments, the mind stays alert because it feels surrounded by information, edges, movement, proximity. But nature offers depth instead of closeness. Depth tells the nervous system that there is room to breathe, room to exist without pressure. Your thoughts respond to this too. They begin to stretch outward rather than piling on top of each other. They slow down. They loosen their grip. You may notice that your imagination drifts to open places: a quiet beach, a wide field, a sky full of slow-moving clouds. This is not accidental. The brain uses these images to calm itself. They signal safety through spaciousness. Even when your eyes are closed, your mind can sense this openness. The body responds by releasing more tension. The chest feels less tight. The stomach softens. The breath moves freely without obstruction. Nature doesn't crowd the senses. It gives them space to settle. Even in a forest, where trees surround you, there is vertical openness. Light filtering down. Air moving freely above. No ceiling pressing inward. This upward space is deeply reassuring to the human mind. It tells the brain that it is not trapped, that it can stop scanning for exits, that it can rest in place. As space opens in perception, time begins to loosen as well. In wide landscapes, time feels slower. Moments stretch naturally. There is no urgency to move forward. This is another signal the body understands instinctively. Urgency disappears, planning fades. The present moment becomes sufficient. You may feel as though you are floating in this openness now, not moving, not falling, just gently held within a wide, quiet space. This sensation often precedes deep rest. The mind no longer feels the need to anchor itself to thought. It can drift without direction. Nature encourages this by offering endless distance without demand. Nothing approaches quickly. Nothing interrupts suddenly. Everything unfolds at its own pace. As you remain here, allow that sense of space to continue expanding softly around you, even within your body. Space between thoughts, space between breaths, space between moments. In the next part, we'll move closer again into the quiet influence of plants and trees, and how their slow, steady pace teaches the body to let go of hurry. For now, rest in this openness. There is plenty of room. As the feeling of space settles around you, something slower begins to influence your body. The pace of living things that do not hurry. Plants, trees, green life that measures time differently than humans ever could. In nature, nothing rushes to grow. Leaves unfold at their own pace. Branches extend slowly, almost imperceptibly. Roots move through soil one careful moment at a time. This slowness is not weakness, it is stability. Your body recognizes this rhythm instantly. When you are near plants or imagine them, your nervous system begins to match their pace. Heart rate eases, breathing steadies. Muscles stop anticipating the next action. Plants never ask for attention, they simply exist. This lack of demand is deeply calming. A tree does not signal urgency. It does not change quickly. It does not surprise the senses. Its presence is constant, reliable, reassuring. For the human body, this consistency feels safe. Safety allows rest. Even the color of plants plays a role. Soft greens are easy for the eyes to process. They do not strain vision. They do not compete for focus. This is why natural green spaces feel restful even at a glance. The brain can relax its grip on detail. Leaves move gently when air passes through them. The motion is slow and repetitive, never sharp, never sudden. Your eyes follow without effort. Your mind follows too. This is how nature gently guides attention away from thought. The pace of plants invites patience without asking for it. You don't need to wait. You don't need to do anything. Just being near this slow rhythm is enough. Trees also offer a sense of permanence. Many have stood through storms, seasons, and centuries. Their presence suggests continuity, a quiet reminder that things endure without struggle. Your body responds by releasing its grip on control. There is no need to hold everything together. Something steady already exists. Even underground, plants move slowly. Roots spread carefully. Fungi connect quietly. Water travels at a measured pace through soil. This hidden world works without noise or urgency. Knowing this, even without seeing it, brings a subtle sense of calm. The world is not rushing beneath you. Nothing is chasing time. This deep, slow activity signals to the body that it can rest fully. Muscles soften further. The weight of your body feels more settled, supported. Your thoughts become simpler now, less layered, less demanding. They may come as images instead of words, shadows, colors, gentle impressions that drift without attachment. This is the mind moving into rest. Nature encourages this by modeling slowness without explanation. Nothing needs to be understood. Nothing needs to be solved. Just as plants grow without thinking, your body can rest without effort. As you remain here, imagine yourself near something green and steady. A tree at night. A field under moonlight. Leaves resting after a long day. Feel how this quiet presence asks nothing of you. In the next part, we'll drift into the grounding feeling of earth and gravity, and how being supported by the ground allows the body to release completely. For now, stay with this slowness. There is no hurry here. As the slow rhythm of plants continues to surround you, attention begins to move downward, toward the ground beneath you, toward the quiet pull that keeps everything gently in place. Gravity. In nature, gravity is constant and dependable. It does not change suddenly. It does not surprise the body. It simply holds. Your body responds deeply to this steadiness. When you lie down or become still, your muscles no longer need to work. to keep you upright. They receive a clear signal. Support is present. This is one of the most powerful invitations to rest. The ground in nature is never harsh. Even stone carries warmth from the day. Soil cushions. Sand shifts to meet the body. There's always a surface ready to receive weight. Your body recognizes this instinctively. As gravity holds you, muscles begin to release layer by layer. The larger muscles let go first. Then the smaller ones follow. There is no effort involved. The body knows how to surrender to support when it feels safe. This sense of being held is ancient. For most of human history, rest happened close to the ground, on earth, on grass, on packed soil warmed by sunlight and cooled by night. The body remembers this closeness. When the ground supports you, the nervous system stops preparing for movement. Balance is no longer required. Readiness fades. This allows deep rest to begin. Even now, you may notice how your weight settles more completely, how the surface beneath you feels more present, more reliable. The pressure points of the body soften. The back spreads gently. The legs feel heavy, content to stay still. Gravity does not pull you downward. It holds you gently against something solid. This creates a feeling of trust. Trust allows the body to stop monitoring itself. In nature, the ground is not dangerous. It does not shift unexpectedly. It does not demand attention. It simply exists. Your body responds by letting go of unnecessary tension. The jaw relaxes. The tongue rests. The muscles around the eyes release. Even the mind responds to this support. Thoughts slow further. They lose their urgency. They drift without direction. There is no need to stay alert when you are supported. Nature reinforces this feeling constantly. Rocks rest where they are. Trees root themselves deeply. Animals curl into the ground to sleep. Everything trusts gravity. As you remain here, notice the gentle pressure beneath you, the quiet certainty that you are being held. There is nothing to maintain, nothing to brace against, just stillness. In the next part, we'll explore how the soft light of evening and night helps the mind release its grip on detail, and how dimness guides the body closer to sleep. For now, allow gravity to continue its quiet work. You are supported. As your body settles fully into the support beneath you, light begins to change again, not disappearing completely, just softening. In nature, light fades gradually. There are no switches, no sudden darkness. The sky dims in layers. Colors lose intensity. Edges blur gently, as if the world is being wrapped in quiet. Your eyes respond immediately. As light softens, the muscles around the eyes relax. There is less to track, less to interpret, less to hold in focus. Vision becomes passive. This change alone calms the brain. Bright light keeps the mind alert because it sharpens detail. It asks the brain to stay ready, to keep watching. But dim light removes that responsibility. In nature, evening light tells the body that observation is no longer necessary. The day is complete. Shadows lengthen. Movement slows. The world becomes simpler. Your mind follows this simplicity. Thoughts no longer rush forward. They drift sideways. They lose structure and soften into impressions. This is a natural response. Firelight has this effect too. It flickers gently, never holding a single shape for long. The eyes do not lock onto it. They rest while watching. Moonlight behaves the same way. It does not illuminate details sharply. It washes the world in soft contrast, enough to feel present, not enough to demand focus. Your body trusts this kind of light. it signals safety. In the natural world, bright light at night is rare. Soft light means rest. It means nothing is happening that requires attention. The nervous system receives this message clearly. As light dims, internal systems begin to shift. Energy turns inward. The body prepares quietly for deeper rest. You may feel a gentle heaviness spreading now, not discomfort, just a pleasant weight. Limbs feel fuller. Movement feels unnecessary. The brain stops reaching outward. Instead of scanning the environment, it drifts inward toward sensation and memory. Not active memory, just quiet awareness. This is the threshold between waking and rest. Nature crosses it without effort. There is no rush, no expectation. Darkness does not arrive to take anything away. It arrives to remove excess light, excess detail, excess thought. What remains is enough. Your breathing slows again, almost unnoticed. The exhale lengthens. The body releases just a little more. You do not need to guide this. Nature has been guiding it all along. As you remain here, allow the light in your awareness to stay soft. No sharp images, no clear outlines, just dimness and ease. In the next part, we'll move into the quiet companionship of night creatures and how their gentle presence reassures the body that it is safe to sleep. For now, stay in this low light. The night is doing its work. As the light continues to soften, the world does not become empty. Instead, it becomes quieter in a different way. Night brings its own gentle life. In nature, darkness is not a warning. It is a transition. As day creatures settle into stillness, night creatures begin their slow movements. Not hurried, not loud, just present. Crickets take their place in the background. Owls call softly from a distance. Small animals move carefully, without urgency. These sounds are familiar to the human nervous system. For thousands of years, people fell asleep to them. Night sounds are different from daytime noise. They do not overlap aggressively. They do not compete. Each sound has space around it. This spacing is important. When sounds are spread out, the brain does not feel overwhelmed. It can rest between them. It can let attention drift. Nature never floods the senses at night. Instead, it reassures. A single insect call repeating again and again tells the body that nothing has changed. Everything is normal. Everything is safe. This repetition calms the mind more effectively than silence. Total silence can feel uncertain, but gentle night sounds confirm continuity. The world is still here. It is simply resting. Your body recognizes this pattern instinctively. As night sounds settle into rhythm, your thoughts begin to thin. They no longer arrive in groups. They come one at a time and then fade. The mind stops trying to connect them. This is not distraction, it is release. Animals at night do not rush. They move efficiently, conserving energy. They know that darkness is not a time for excess. Your body follows the same logic. Muscles remain relaxed. Movement feels unnecessary. Even shifting position seems optional. The heart continues its slow, steady pace. Reliable, unconcerned. Night creatures do not question the dark. They trust it. That trust is contagious. As you listen, you may feel a sense of quiet companionship. Not loneliness, not alertness. Just the knowledge that life continues gently around you. This awareness reassures the nervous system. You are not alone. You are part of a larger rhythm. The body settles deeper into rest when it feels included rather than isolated. Night provides this inclusion effortlessly. Breathing becomes almost unnoticeable now, smooth, even. The boundary between breath and stillness begins to blur. Thoughts lose their narrative quality. They soften into fragments, then dissolve. There is nothing left to follow. Nature has removed the need. In the next part, we'll drift into the body's ancient memory of sleeping under open skies, and how this deep familiarity allows the mind to finally let go. For now, remain here with the night sounds. They will continue without you needing to listen. As the night settles into its quiet rhythm, something very old awakens gently inside you, a memory deeper than thought. For most of human history, sleep happened beneath open skies. No ceilings, no walls, just stars, darkness, and the steady presence of the world. Your body still remembers this. Even now, when you are indoors, that ancient familiarity remains. The nervous system recognizes the feeling of night air, distant sounds, and darkness as something known, something trusted. Under open skies, there was nothing to monitor closely, no corners, no sudden interruptions, just vastness above and stability below. This combination allowed the body to let go completely. The sky overhead always signaled perspective. Problems felt smaller. Time felt slower. Nothing demanded immediate action. Your mind responds to this even in imagination. When you picture a wide night sky, thoughts naturally loosen. They no longer press inward. They drift outward and dissolve. Stars move slowly. Planets shift silently. Nothing in the sky ever rushes. This teaches the brain patience without instruction. Under open skies, the body learned when to sleep by watching the world settle. When sound softened, when light faded, when movement slowed. These cues shaped the human sleep cycle long before language existed. Your body still listens for them. As night deepens, temperature drops slightly. This gentle cooling tells the body that it is time to conserve energy. Metabolism slows, muscles relax further, the mind follows. Thoughts no longer try to hold together. They fade like constellations disappearing behind clouds. There is no need to stay alert beneath a sky that has always been there. Even fear learned to soften under stars. Nothing chased from above. Nothing demanded response. The sky simply watched. This quiet presence allowed early humans to rest deeply, trusting that the world would continue without their attention. That trust still lives in you. As you rest now, your body recognizes the same signals. Darkness, stillness, gentle sound, open space. All the conditions for sleep are present. The nervous system releases its final grip, not suddenly, just quietly. Breathing becomes shallow and slow. The space between breaths widens. Awareness narrows. You may feel as though you are drifting, not moving anywhere, just loosening your hold on wakefulness. This is natural. Nature never forces sleep. It creates the conditions, and the body does the rest. As you remain here, imagine yourself beneath a calm, open sky. Nothing to watch, nothing to wait for. Just quiet darkness overhead and solid ground beneath. In the next part, we'll allow nature to finish this gentle transition as rest becomes sleep without effort or intention. For now, let yourself float in this ancient familiarity. The night knows what to do. At this point, nature no longer needs to guide you actively. It simply remains. Everything that needed to slow has already slowed. Everything that needed to soften has softened. The body now rests inside conditions that feel complete. There is nothing left to respond to, no signal asking for action, no sound that needs interpretation, no thought that needs to be finished. Nature has gently removed all reasons to stay awake. Breathing continues on its own, light and unremarkable. The chest rises just enough. The exhale leaves without effort. You may barely notice it anymore. This is how the body prefers to breathe, when it feels safe. Muscles remain loose, not limp, just content. They no longer hold readiness, they trust the stillness. The mind does not need to wander now. It does not need images or stories. Awareness narrows naturally, like a lens softening its focus. Nature never asks you to fall asleep. It never commands rest. It simply stays steady long enough for the body to stop resisting it. The night does not change suddenly. It remains consistent, predictable, quiet. This consistency is what allows sleep to arrive. Your thoughts may pause between themselves now, moments where nothing appears. These pauses are not emptiness, they are rest. The nervous system settles into its most natural state, neither alert nor unconscious, just suspended. This is the threshold. Here, the body begins to drift inward without effort. Sensations blur, time loses meaning, nature steps back. It does not watch, it does not wait. It trusts your body to do what it has always done. And so, without intention, without instruction, sleep begins to form quietly on its own. You do not need to follow it. You do not need to notice it. Just remain where you are. The night is stable. The world is calm. And your body knows how to rest. At a certain point in the night, something very quiet happens inside you. So quiet that it doesn't announce itself. The body simply stops watching. All day, your body has been gently monitoring itself, holding posture, adjusting balance, tracking sounds, staying prepared even when nothing was required. Now, that effort begins to fade. You don't decide this. It happens naturally, the way fog settles when the air cools enough. The muscles no longer check where they are. The shoulders don't hold themselves up. The neck no longer guards against movement. Even the small hidden muscles, the ones that stabilize, that brace, that stay ready, begin to rest. This is not collapse, it is trust. In nature, nothing keeps watch while resting. A deer lying in tall grass does not monitor each breath. A bird tucked into feathers does not track the position of its wings. A tree does not measure the weight of its own branches. They rest because the environment allows it. Your body recognizes the same permission now. Breathing continues, but without supervision. You may notice it for a moment, and then forget about it entirely. That forgetting is important. It means the body no longer needs reassurance. It knows it is safe enough to continue on its own. The chest rises gently, the exhale leaves quietly. There is no adjustment, no correction, just rhythm. The heart follows this ease. Its movement becomes less noticeable, steady, unconcerned. In nature, nothing listens to its own heartbeat. It beats because it knows how. Your body returns to that knowledge now. As vigilance fades, awareness begins to thin, not disappearing, just loosening. Sounds lose their sharpness. They no longer arrive with edges or direction. They become part of the background, present, but no longer important. You may hear something, and then realize a moment later that you stopped listening to it. This is the body letting go of monitoring. Vision, even behind closed eyes, softens further. Images blur. Colors fade into darkness. The mind no longer tries to orient itself. There is no need to know where you are in space. No need to measure distance. No need to prepare movement. The body has chosen stillness. In this state, sensations change quality. Weight feels more evenly distributed. Pressure becomes diffuse instead of specific. You may no longer feel individual points of contact. Instead, there is a general sense of being supported. This is how the body feels when it stops checking itself. Thoughts respond to this shift immediately. They slow, not because they are forced to, but because they are no longer needed. Planning dissolves first, then remembering, then even imagining. What remains are small fragments of awareness, gentle, floating impressions that do not connect to anything else. A feeling, a shadow of an image, then nothing. This is not emptiness, it is rest. Nature has always created this state by removing demands. At night, there is nothing to gather, nothing to build, nothing to respond to quickly. The world itself rests. Your nervous system mirrors this stillness. The final layer of alertness loosens now. Not dramatically, not completely. Just enough. Enough that you are no longer waiting for anything. Enough that you are no longer holding the moment together. The body no longer checks for change. Even if something were to shift, it would do so slowly, the way night always does. This predictability allows the body to surrender the last responsibility it holds while awake, the responsibility to stay ready. You may notice pauses now, small spaces where nothing happens. No thought, no sensation, no awareness of time. These pauses are natural doorways. They come and go without asking you to enter them. The body steps through them on its own. In nature, sleep does not arrive with ceremony. It arrives like shade moving across the ground, unnoticed until it is already there. Your body understands this pattern deeply. As watching fades, the sense of you softens, not disappearing, just becoming less defined. There is no center that needs protecting, no edge that needs guarding, just presence without effort. Breathing continues somewhere in the background. The heart moves quietly. The night remains steady. Nothing requires your attention. Nothing needs to be finished. If awareness returns briefly, it does so gently, then drifts away again. There is no struggle in this movement. Nature never struggles to rest. And neither does your body now. In the next part, thoughts will lose even their remaining shape, not because they are pushed aside, but because they are no longer useful. For now, remain here in this quiet moment where the body has stopped watching and rest has begun to take over on its own. After the body stops watching, the mind follows in its own quiet way, not all at once, not deliberately. Thoughts simply begin to lose their shape. At first, they still appear as fragments, a sentence that almost forms, an image without context, a feeling without a name. But even these begin to soften. The mind is no longer interested in finishing what it starts. In nature, nothing completes itself at night. Movement slows before it stops. Sound fades before it disappears. Light dissolves before darkness fully arrives. Thought behaves the same way. Ideas no longer line up in order. They don't connect to the next one. They don't demand resolution. They float briefly, then drift away. This is not confusion. It is relief. All day, the mind has been shaping thoughts carefully, turning them into plans, into words, into decisions. Now, that effort is no longer necessary. Nature does not provide clear stories at night. It offers shadows instead, soft edges, partial impressions. The brain mirrors what it receives. Thoughts become less verbal, less structured. They turn into textures rather than sentences. A sense of warmth, a passing color, the memory of a sound already fading. You may notice that you stop thinking and start drifting, not going anywhere, just moving without direction. This is a natural transition. The mind is letting go of language. Language is useful for action, for coordination, for solving. At night, none of that is required, so language loosens its grip. Thoughts no longer have beginnings or endings. They appear halfway formed, then dissolve before they can finish. The brain is no longer trying to hold meaning together. This is deeply restful. Without meaning to track, the mind relaxes into sensation. You may become faintly aware of the space behind your eyes, the quiet inside your head, the absence of urgency. This absence is not empty, it is spacious. Nature encourages this by offering no clear focal point, no single sound to follow, no sharp image to hold. Everything remains soft and optional. The mind responds by becoming optional too. If a thought appears, it does not demand attention. You do not follow it. You do not push it away. It simply fades. This is how thoughts behave when they are no longer fed. The nervous system remains calm throughout this process. There is no alarm, no sense of loss, just less effort being used. The brain begins to shift into a state where it no longer separates experiences. Sound blends with sensation. Sensation blends with stillness. Awareness becomes wide and unfocused. You may notice moments where you cannot tell what you were just thinking about, or whether you were thinking at all. These moments are important. They are signs that the mind is resting. In nature, rest is never announced. It happens quietly, without markers. The mind follows the same rule. Thoughts do not stop, they dissolve. Like mist thinning as the air cools, like ripples smoothing out on still water. There is no effort involved. Even memory loosens now. Not important memories, just the constant referencing of self. You may not feel the need to know who you are in this moment, or what comes next. That need fades with thought. The sense of identity softens. There is still awareness, but it is no longer centered on you. It becomes diffuse, even gentle. Nature supports this by offering sameness, no change, no signal. The environment remains steady long enough for the mind to stop checking it. You're not falling asleep yet. You're drifting through the last layers of thought. This drifting has no direction. If you try to follow it, it slips away. If you ignore it, it fades faster. Either way, it does not require participation. Breathing continues quietly in the background. The body remains supported. The night remains unchanged. Nothing interrupts this softening. Thoughts that once felt solid now feel transparent. They pass through without leaving weight. Eventually, even the idea of thinking feels distant. The mind rests, not because it is empty, but because it no longer needs to shape anything. Nature never shapes itself at night. It allows itself to be. Your mind is learning the same lesson. In the next part, time itself will begin to loosen. Moments will stretch, blend, and gently disappear. For now, remain here, where thoughts have lost their shape, and rest deepens without effort. As thoughts lose their shape, something even quieter begins to loosen. Time, not the kind measured by clocks or schedules, but the internal sense of before and after. In nature, night does not keep track of itself. It does not move toward anything. It simply unfolds. Your body begins to follow this rhythm now. Moments stop lining up. One does not lead clearly into the next. They soften at the edges and begin to blend. You may notice that you no longer know how long you've been resting. That awareness fades without concern. This is not disorientation, it is relief. All day, time has been something to manage, to measure, to stay aware of. Now, there is no need. In the natural world, nothing counts the hours of night. Animals do not check how long they've been still. Trees do not measure the length of darkness. They rest until rest is complete. Your body remembers this instinctively. The nervous system releases the need to track progression. There is no future moment to prepare for, no previous moment to review. Only this one, and even that begins to dissolve. Breathing continues, but you may no longer notice individual breaths. They blend into a steady background movement. The heart continues its quiet rhythm, but without urgency. Not marking time, just maintaining life gently. This is the body outside of time. In this state, awareness no longer moves forward. It rests in place. There is no sense of waiting, no sense of anticipation. Nature never waits for sleep. Sleep happens when conditions are right. And now, those conditions are present. The brain, no longer driven by thought or monitoring, begins to rest in longer intervals. Pauses stretch. You may notice moments where there is nothing at all. No sound, no image, no sense of duration. Then gently, awareness returns, not because something happened, but because rest continues in waves. These waves do not follow a schedule. They rise and fall naturally. In nature, tides move without counting. Shadows shift without marking progress. Your body moves into rest the same way. Time becomes soft and porous. It does not hold shape. If a thought appears now, it feels distant, as if it happened a long time ago, even if it just passed. Memory loses its grip. You do not feel the need to remember what came before this moment, or what will come after. The present becomes wide and undefined. This is one of the deepest signals of rest. When time fades, the nervous system knows it no longer needs to stay alert. There is nothing approaching, nothing scheduled, nothing expected. The environment remains unchanged long enough for the body to trust it fully. The sense of effort disappears almost entirely. You're not doing anything now, not even resting. Rest is simply happening. Nature creates this condition by staying consistent. No sudden sounds, no sharp light, no movement that requires attention. The brain settles into this consistency and lets go of timekeeping. Even the idea of next loses meaning. Moments do not move forward. They simply exist, one inside another. This is how the body experiences deep rest before sleep. You may feel as though you're floating in a long, unmeasured pause, not suspended, not falling, just held in stillness. There is no reason to mark this moment, no reason to remember it. Nature does not record rest, it allows it. As time continues to loosen, awareness grows thinner, not weaker, just quieter. The boundaries between moments fade. You do not need to follow this process. It does not require attention. It continues, whether you notice it or not. In the next part, we'll drift into the quiet steadiness of the body's center, the calm rhythm within the chest that remains when everything else softens. For now, remain here, where time has gently let go and rest no longer needs a beginning or an end. As time loosens and moments blur together, awareness drifts inward, not by choice, not with intention. It simply settles toward the center of the body, toward the quiet space inside the chest. This place has always been there, steady, unchanging, working gently in the background while everything else moves. Now, it becomes more noticeable, not as sensation, but as calm. The chest no longer feels like a place of effort. There is no tightness, no holding. Breathing moves through this space smoothly, without pause or adjustment. Each inhale arrives softly. Each exhale leaves without resistance. There is nothing to regulate, nothing to control. In nature, no creature manages its breath while resting. Breath happens because it knows how. Your body remembers this deeply. The heart moves within this quiet center at a steady pace. Not fast, not slow, just consistent. It does not announce itself. It does not demand attention. It works the way rivers flow at night, reliably, unseen, without urgency. This steadiness is profoundly calming to the nervous system. When the heart feels predictable, the body stops preparing, stops listening for change, stops holding readiness in the muscles. The chest becomes a place of rest rather than action. Even emotions soften here. There is no pull toward excitement, no tug toward concern. Feelings, if they appear at all, are distant and muted, like sounds heard through walls. Nature creates this effect by offering no emotional signals at night, no bright colors, no sharp contrasts. Everything remains neutral and safe. The chest responds by settling fully. You may notice a gentle warmth spreading through this area. Not heat, just comfort. This warmth is not created. It is revealed when tension leaves. Muscles around the ribs release. The diaphragm moves freely. The shoulders sink even further. The body no longer holds itself upright internally. It trusts the stillness. In this state, awareness no longer jumps outward. It rests softly inside the body, not scanning, not checking, just present. This inward settling is one of the final steps before sleep. When awareness rests in the chest, thought becomes unnecessary. Movement becomes optional. Time becomes irrelevant. Nature supports this by remaining unchanged. The night does not ask questions. It does not present new information. It simply stays. The chest mirrors this constancy. There is a sense now that everything important is already taken care of. Breathing continues. The heart continues. Nothing else is required. If awareness drifts outward briefly, it returns easily, not pulled back, just settling again. This is how the body behaves when it trusts itself. The mind no longer leads. The body carries rest forward on its own. Even the idea of sleep begins to lose importance. There is no need to reach it. No need to wait for it. Rest is already happening. The chest remains calm, open, quiet. This calm spreads outward gently into the neck, the jaw, the face. Expressions soften. The space behind the eyes grows dark and comfortable. Nature never asks the body to shut down. It allows systems to slow until effort disappears. That is what is happening now. The quiet center inside your chest continues its steady rhythm, unchanged by thought, unaffected by time. You are no longer doing anything. Rest is simply continuing. In the next part, awareness will drift even further away from the edges of the body as the sense of distance grows and the world becomes safely far away. For now, remain here, inside this quiet center where nothing needs attention and everything continues gently on its own. As the quiet center inside the chest remains steady, something else begins to change. The world starts to feel farther away, not gone, not erased, just distant enough to no longer matter. This distance is gentle. It does not arrive suddenly. It spreads slowly like fog rolling across a field, softening everything it touches. Sounds seem farther now. If they appear at all, they feel muted, as though they belong to another place. They no longer come toward you, they pass by without stopping. Your body understands this as safety. In nature, distance means time. If something is far away, it cannot reach you quickly. There is no need to prepare, no reason to stay alert. The nervous system relaxes even further. The edges of the body begin to soften. You may no longer feel where your hands end or where your feet rest. not because sensation is gone, but because it no longer needs definition. Boundaries blur. The body stops drawing clear outlines around itself. This is not losing awareness. It is releasing unnecessary precision. In deep rest, the body does not need to know exactly where it begins and ends. Nature supports this by removing sharp contrasts. Darkness smooths edges. Stillness removes motion. Silence stretches space. Your mind mirrors this environment. Awareness becomes wide but faint, present but not focused. You are no longer located in a specific spot. You are simply here. The sense of distance grows inside the mind as well. Thoughts, if they appear, feel far away, as though they belong to someone else or happened a long time ago. You do not reach for them. They drift on their own. Memory loosens its grip. You do not need to remember how you arrived here. You do not need to anticipate what comes next. The mind is no longer moving along a line. It is resting in a wide, quiet space. This distance is comforting. It creates a buffer between you and the world. Nothing presses inward. Nothing interrupts. In nature, animals sleep best when they feel this distance, when nothing is close enough to surprise them, when the environment remains unchanged long enough to trust. Your body senses the same condition now. Breathing becomes even more subtle, shallow, slow, effortless. The chest continues its steady rhythm, but awareness barely touches it. The heart moves quietly, unconcerned with being noticed. This is the body functioning without supervision. You may feel as though you are sinking slightly, not downward, but inward, as if you are moving away from the surface of awareness and settling into something deeper and quieter. This movement does not require effort. It is not something you do. It happens because nothing is stopping it. Nature removes obstacles to rest by staying consistent. No changes, no surprises. The body responds by letting go of its final attachments to wakefulness. The idea of the room, the idea of the night, even the idea of rest itself begins to fade. Not because it is pushed away, but because it is no longer needed. The world has moved far enough away that it cannot interfere. You are safe inside this distance, safe enough to stop checking, safe enough to stop holding on. Awareness thins again. There may be moments now where nothing registers at all, no sound, no sensation, no thought. Then awareness returns gently like a ripple, not pulling you back, just passing through. These waves are natural. In nature, sleep does not arrive all at once. It comes in layers. Each layer removes another reason to stay awake. Distance is one of the final layers. When the world feels far away, the body knows it can rest fully. You do not need to follow what happens next. You do not need to remember this moment. Nature does not remember its own rest. It simply continues. In the next part, the last quiet attachment to wakefulness will dissolve, not as an event, but as an absence. For now, remain here where the world is distant and nothing can reach you. There is often a moment that cannot be pointed to. It has no edge, no signal. It is simply the moment when the body no longer needs to stay awake. Not because it decides to sleep, but because there is nothing left that requires awareness. The world remains distant and quiet. The body remains supported and still. The night remains unchanged. And somewhere within this steadiness, the final reason for wakefulness dissolves. All day, wakefulness has had a purpose: to notice, to respond, to adjust. Now, none of those purposes remain. Nature does not ask the body to stop being awake. It removes the need to continue. The nervous system releases its final thread of readiness. So gently, that it feels like nothing at all. There is no switch, no drop, no moment of crossing over, just less holding. Awareness becomes thinner again, not disappearing, just no longer anchored. If attention drifts, it does not return automatically. There is no pull to come back. The body no longer checks for itself. Breathing continues, but it feels distant now, as though it belongs to the night rather than to you. The heart continues its steady rhythm, but it no longer feels central. These processes no longer define experience. They simply continue. In nature, this is how animals fall asleep, not by closing their eyes to the world, but by allowing the world to fade on its own. Your body follows the same path. The sense of effort is gone completely now, not replaced by relaxation, just absent. There is nothing to relax from. Muscles remain soft and still, not heavy, not light, just present enough to exist. The mind no longer forms impressions, not even vague ones. If a thought appears, it feels incomplete, already fading as it arrives. There is no urge to follow it, no curiosity. Curiosity belongs to wakefulness. Here, curiosity has no role. Nature does not invite attention at this hour. It withdraws gently, leaving nothing to observe. The body understands this withdrawal as permission to let awareness loosen further. You may notice moments now where there is no sense of position, no sense of body, no sense of time. Then, softly, awareness returns, not to check, just to pass through. These brief returns grow farther apart, each one weaker than the last. In between them, rest deepens on its own. The last attachment to wakefulness is not fear, it is habit, and habit dissolves when nothing reinforces it. Nature has stopped reinforcing wakefulness. No light, no sound, no change, just steady, quiet presence. The body responds by letting go of habit. There is no longer a need to stay here consciously. You're not leaving. You're not going anywhere. You're simply no longer holding this moment together. Sleep does not arrive as something new. It emerges as what remains when wakefulness steps aside. The body recognizes this state deeply. It has returned to it countless times across countless nights. There is no uncertainty here, only familiarity. The night continues without noticing you. The world remains stable. The body rests within it. Awareness thins until it becomes optional. You may not remember the moment it disappears, and there is no need to. Nature never remembers its own transitions. It moves gently from one state to the next without marking the change. In the next part, awareness itself will become soft and mist-like, present, but no longer personal. For now, allow this last need to stay awake to fade, without watching it fade. The night already knows what comes next. After the last need to stay awake fades, awareness itself begins to change, not ending, not turning off, just becoming lighter. It no longer gathers around a center. It no longer feels personal or directed. It spreads, like mist settling over a quiet landscape. There is still awareness here, but it is thin and diffuse. It does not focus. It does not observe. It simply exists. In nature, this kind of awareness appears just before sleep. Animals do not enter sleep. Their attention loosens until it is no longer anchored to anything. Your body follows the same ancient pattern. There is no longer a clear sense of inside or outside, no firm boundary between body and space. Sensation blends with stillness. If sound exists, it is indistinct. If breath exists, it is background. If the body exists, it does so without definition. Nothing asks to be noticed. Awareness no longer belongs to you. It floats without ownership. This is deeply restful. The nervous system is now fully at ease. No alertness remains, no readiness, no checking, just continuation. Nature supports this by remaining unchanged. The night does not shift. The environment does not signal. Everything stays the same long enough for awareness to stop tracking it. You may notice brief flickers, a hint of sensation, a trace of thought. But they dissolve immediately. They do not form, they do not connect. Like mist touched by air, they vanish as soon as they appear. There is no reaction to this, no concern. Reaction requires identity, and identity has softened. In this state, even the idea of rest feels distant. There is no contrast between rest and wakefulness anymore. There is only gentle presence. Nature never separates states sharply. It blends them. Dusk blends into night. Night blends into sleep. Your body is following that same blending now. Awareness no longer has a timeline. There is no sequence. Moments do not arrive or leave. They overlap, then disappear. This is not unconsciousness. It is pre-sleep stillness. The body remains perfectly safe here, perfectly supported. Breathing continues somewhere. The heart continues somewhere. But these are no longer experiences. They are processes happening without observation. Nothing needs to be held. Nothing needs to be released. The mind has no shape now. The body has no edges. There is only softness. If awareness fades completely, it does so gently. If it returns briefly, it does so lightly. Neither matters. Nature does not care whether awareness is present or not. It continues regardless. And that constancy allows sleep to deepen naturally. You are not moving toward sleep. Sleep is forming around you, like darkness forming when light is gone, like silence forming when sound has settled. There is no moment to witness, no threshold to cross, only continuation. In the next part, sleep itself will begin to form fully, not as an event, but as a quiet state that simply remains. For now, allow awareness to stay light or to fade. Both are welcome here. At some point, there is nothing left to describe, not because something has ended, but because nothing needs attention anymore. Sleep does not arrive. It is already here. It forms quietly, the way night settles over land, without announcement, without edges. Awareness no longer gathers itself. It no longer checks where it is. It no longer asks. What remains is gentle continuation. Breathing happens somewhere far away. The heart keeps its calm rhythm. The body stays supported, unmoving, content. These processes no longer belong to experience. They simply continue. Nature does not stay awake to witness its own rest. It rests by becoming still enough that nothing needs watching. The same is true now. There is no you holding this moment together, no listener following the words, no effort keeping awareness present. Rest has taken over completely. If a trace of awareness appears, it drifts through without consequence. If it disappears, nothing notices. There is no difference between these states anymore. The night remains stable. The world remains distant. The body remains safe. Sleep deepens not by going somewhere, but by remaining exactly where it is. Nothing changes quickly. Nothing interrupts. The mind no longer forms. The body no longer signals. There is only quiet continuation. From here, there is nothing more to follow, nothing more to release, nothing more to allow. Nature continues its slow rhythm without you needing to be present for it. And rest continues softly, steadily, on its own.